Sponsored by Midland. Communication for every adventure. The industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years.
Sponsored by MYMEDIC. First aid kits that will actually save your life, not just Band-Aids and gauze.
Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Hi, my name is Phil from Waypoint Overland, and you're listening to Random Waypoints. All right, so here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Random Waypoints podcast. We'll be doing an episode every week, so like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss an episode. This week, we'll look at safety standards for new potential electric adventure rigs. Also, we'll have another installment of a segment called Waypoints that deals with navigation and planning itineraries for the overland traveler. We have a special edition of Taste Tests and an important interview with Kris from Trail Rated Coffee Company. So stay tuned for the whole show. But next, let's look at the news.
During this segment, we'll cover various topics with a connection to overlanding in some way. It could be land use news regarding the national parks or the Bureau of Land Management. We'll keep you up to date on any auto industry news when it pertains to relevant and potential overlanding vehicles. There will be camping and outdoor industry news, as well as photography and video, fishing, hiking, and on and on. Now, here's the news.
Evidence is growing that electric vehicles are at least as safe as conventional ones, with 2 more vehicles that run exclusively on battery power earning safety awards from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. In addition, an updated analysis of insurance data shows injury claims are substantially less frequent for such vehicles. The newly launched 2021 Volvo XC40 Recharge, a small SUV, qualifies for the Top Safety Pick Plus designation, the higher of the Institute's 2 awards, while the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach E, a midsize SUV, earns the lower-tier Top Safety Pick Award. The 2021 Top Safety Pick Award requires good ratings in all 6 IIHS crashworthiness tests. Winners must also be available with good or acceptable headlights and a front crash prevention system that earns advanced or superior ratings in both the vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-pedestrian evaluations. To qualify for the Plus, vehicles must come with good or acceptable headlights across all trim levels and packages. The curve adaptive LED reflective headlights installed on every XC40 Recharge earn a good rating. The SUV's standard front crash prevention system also earns superior and advanced scores in the vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-pedestrian evaluations respectively. The Mach-E is available with good rated LED projector headlights on the Premium, GT, and First Edition trims, which qualify for Top Safety Pick. However, the LED reflectors installed on the Select and California Route 1 trims are rated marginal, preventing the new Mustang from earning the Plus. These headlights provided inadequate illumination on some curves. The Mach-E also comes with a standard front crash prevention system that earns superior ratings in both the vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-pedestrian evaluations. In National Park news, the National Park Service has a new app. That's right. The NPS app is the new official app for the National Park Service, with tools to explore more than 400 national parks nationwide. Find interactive maps, tours of park places, on-the-ground accessibility information, and much more to plan your national park adventures before and during your trip. The free app is currently available for iOS and Android devices. The National Park Service NPS app was created by the National Park Service staff. These are people who know national parks, and they know how to help you make the most of your visit. The NPS app takes authoritative information from park rangers and combines it with a great suite of features to include interactive maps, park tours, self-guided tours, and amenities. And if you don't have internet access, You can download content from the entire park system offline. Also, from the app, you can share your visit by telling your friends and family about the fun things you did by creating and sharing virtual postcards with scenes from the park. The National Park Service advises that if you don't find what you're looking for now, check back regularly as they continue to add and expand features, so stay tuned for more. Well, that's it for the news. Now it's time for Waypoints.
Waypoints. Waypoints will cover all aspects of navigation for the overland traveler. Navigation is the act or practicing of navigating, the method of determining position, course, and distance traveled.
When coordinating navigation and planning itineraries for your overland travel, make sure those plans take in consideration that inevitably something will go wrong. Have the necessary information at your fingertips. Know where auto shops that service your particular brand are located along your main travel route. Program the numbers of local ranger stations and emergency services. Put those directly into your phone. If you come across email addresses, program your satellite communicator with them. You should fill out 3 cards with everyone's blood type, medical information, prescriptions, any other pertinent information, emergency phone numbers, including contact information for your doctor. 1 card, that goes in your glove compartment, another in your wallet, and the other with your first aid kit. Also in that kit, I'd recommend putting in medical history forms and medical consent forms for each team member on your journey. And make sure you invest in a well-stocked first aid kit. And don't just buy a well-stocked kit. Learn how to use it. Consider taking a first aid course. You can take one through the American Red Cross. You can contact your local chapter for information on classes. Prepare children for medical emergencies in age-appropriate ways. The American Red Cross offers a number of helpful resources, including classes designed to help children understand and use first aid techniques. Most first aid kits don't include real life-saving items like tourniquets and chest seals. So my solution for a long time has been buying each item a la carte that I need from MYMEDIC.com and stuffing everything inside a Blue Ridge Overland Gear first aid IFAC Velcro pouch that Velcros to my headrest mount. You don't have to do what I did. MYMEDIC has their own MyFAC first aid kit that has everything already in it. I'd feel comfortable in just about any environment with this kit. These are expert pick supplies for bleeding airways, burns, hydration, meds, sprains, fractures, and topical items. You get well over 100 quality first aid and trauma supplies. And I love this tearaway pouch system. The only thing I've added to the overall kit are towelettes, hand sanitizer, garbage bags, towels, toilet paper, headlamps, my Midland radio, my Midland GMRS, some extra batteries. I'll do a separate video going into detail about MyFAC first aid kit by MYMEDIC. So stay tuned for that. Now let's go into taste test.
Taste tests. Taste test is where we evaluate the taste of a food product, whether on its own or compared with other products. Some taste tests will be conducted blind, while others will focus on a particular brand or item.
All right, we have a special edition of Taste Test this week. We'll be taste testing coffee as well as interviewing the founder of Trail Rated Coffee Company. First, I'd like to read a statement from the company. Trail Rated Coffee Company was founded as a way to bring people and trails together. We provide delicious coffee that's made in small batches. Our coffee is bold in flavor and smooth in taste. As a family, we've noticed the changes in trail conditions. Lack of education, trash, and overuse has been wreaking havoc on the land. As a company, we wanted to make a difference in actively preserving trails and keeping them open. A percentage of every purchase made goes to support trail restoration projects. We take pride pride in our coffee roasts, the trails we help restore, and our partner programs we support. All right, everybody. We have on the podcast today Kris Gaines. He's the founder and co-owner of Trail Rated Coffee Company, a coffee company that serves great coffee to the off-road community and helps restore trails. At age 6, Kris began his love of dirt bikes. He raced motocross from age 8 until the 1990s. From there, his passion turned to off-roading. His first rig was a 15-year-old Jeep Cherokee XJ that he drove into the ground, taking it off-roading every weekend. In 2015, Kris moved his family to Colorado, where he fell in love with the mountains and the off-road trails. In 2020, he bought his current rig, a 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Kris, welcome to the podcast. We're honored to have you here with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, I want to start, because I like complete transparency. I want to start with letting everyone know how this interview came about. And it was that 2020 rig Gladiator of yours. I saw it on Instagram, and I wanted to check out more. So then I went to your Instagram, and come to find out you had some coffee. And I do a segment called Taste Test, which this interview is part of this week. Could I try some of your coffee? And you graciously did that. And not only did you do that, you are allowing this interview. And I wanted to mention that the only reason I even care about doing the interview is not because of the coffee, but because of some of the things that you're doing outside of the coffee. And we're going to talk about that as we go. So the first thing I want to ask is about the rig. Can you tell us some of the specs of that? I'm sure everybody wants to know the specs on that Gladiator.
Definitely. Well, like you mentioned, it is a 2020 Jeep Gladiator. It's a sport model, Sport S model. We have a 2.5-inch lift, and we're running 37-inch tires. We just upgraded. We got a set of Icon rebound wheels. It took me almost a year to decide on the wheels because I couldn't figure out which ones I wanted. So on top of that, we also have a roof rack that was built by Uptop Overland, which is a local Colorado company. We kind of a story on that. We actually went to them, and they were mainly a Toyota company. And we asked them to build us a rack for the Gladiator. And the owner kind of said, we don't work on Jeeps. And I said, yes, you do. And kind of worked with them to get it built. And we had that put together last year, and then got a 23.0 rooftop tent. And then the pandemic hit, and we didn't get a whole lot of time out using it. But we've definitely had some time this winter and the fall to use it. And other than that, we're still working on the bed modifications. We're building a drawer system, and we're also working on fridges and electrical on it. But that's where we're at this point. It's just a good, solid rig to use out. We do a lot of overlanding, so that's really what it's built for. So, well,
then I've got to ask the next question, because everybody's going to want to know. Like you said, the pandemic popped up and slowed things down, but you did get out a little bit. Is there any cool places that you've hit so far in your Jeep?
Yeah, we actually just came back from the Easter Jeep Safari a couple weeks ago, and that was a fun adventure. So, wasn't our first Easter Jeep Safari, but it was the first one where we actually took out the rig, and we found out that we needed to do a little work on the rear suspension after we tore off our fenders. So we actually had to replace the rear fenders on it after Easter Jeep Safari. And luckily, while we was there, one of the trail bosses was the Bushwhackers company, and they had flat fenders for the Gladiator. So we ended up seeing those. And as soon as we came back, we ordered a set. So we just upgraded those and put those on this week. So We also did a little bit of upgrading on our rear suspension, so we've got a little more travel now. So we're not dragging our fenders. So
okay. So I think the Jeep Gladiator is a great representation for your coffee company. Can you tell us what you do at your coffee company? Tell us a little bit about the coffee company. Later after the interview, the next segment, I'm going to taste all three of them. And I didn't tell you that. Directly after the interview, I do my taste test.
Okay, perfect.
So can you tell us a little bit about what you do and about the coffee?
Definitely. As far as what I do at the company, I'm a co-founder. My wife and I have founded the company. It was kind of a dream that we've had for a long time. A few years ago, we had the fortune to get to go to the Kona Coffee Festival in Hawaii. So we toured a lot of the coffee facilities over there, talked to a few roast masters, and really just fell in love with not only the coffee, but just the whole atmosphere and the industry. And fast forward a few years, we had the fortune a couple of years ago that I actually had a stroke, and it kind of changed my life a little bit and changed my priorities and made me make a few decisions that really led to the coffee business. So I just getting into something that's more fun and honestly putting off dreams we quit putting off the dream. We jumped in and went for it, and kind of did the same thing with buying the Gladiator. We had our old rig for a long time, and it was a fit that we put together, and we loved it. And as far as what I do, I'm technically the co-owner, marketing director, cleaning person, packaging, shipping, do a little bit of everything. Mainly what I work on is social media, and then reaching out to organizing events and things like that. But we kind of pitch in and do a lot of everything. We're a small operation. We do all of our work on our own. We have a few outside people that help, but everything that you see package wise, graphics, everything we've done. I give you an idea. We actually did the wrap on our truck in our garage. So everything's a grassroots organization.
Wow.
And we truly not only built the company as a business to have fun with and enjoy, but to give back to the community that we've spent a lifetime. I used to work in the industry and just wanted to have a company that we could go out and enjoy what we love to do. And coffee was a great segue into talking to people and helping trails and other things. So it's just been a great adventure more than anything. So,
well, I've tried your coffee. I already have a favorite. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to watch the podcast to get the reveal. What's your favorite out of the three?
It's really a toss up. Imogene and the Cliffhanger. I'm really hung on both. I think it kind of depends on the mood and the day, but I usually will lean towards Cliffhanger. I like that one the best.
Okay, I'm trying not to give away, whether I agree or disagree on that.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other products coming on down the pipeline?
Actually, we do. We have 2 new coffees that'll be coming out in May. The 3 coffees that we make right now are blends, and we're actually going to go with a single bean coffee this time. So we're going to come out with 2 different. It's a light to medium roast and a medium roast. And then we also have a few more in the development stages that'll be coming out throughout the summer and especially the fall. So there'll be definitely some new products on the way.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that. So I want to talk food. This is Taste Test, so you got to talk food with me.
I'm right there with you. I love food.
Okay, so when you're overlanding, this is an overlanding question. This is an overlanding show.
Sure.
So when you're overlanding, when you're looking to impress, what's your go-to meal? And tell me why. Meaning, is it because of convenience? Is it the wow factor? Or what is it and why?
I tell you, I'm a huge comfort food fan. So, probably not the most convenient thing, but on every overlanding trip, I have a little small fire pit that I actually made in high school that goes back, and I carry mesquite wood, real mesquite wood from South Texas where I grew up, and I charcoals T-bones and baked potatoes. That's my go-to meal. I don't know if it's so much to impress me or the other people, but that's my go-to meal, and I love it. So that's usually what'll end up on the plate that night.
All right. If it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. All right. Now, we like to get philosophical around here. So we're going to go in a complete different direction now. And I'm going to ask you, what do you wish you had known when you started out? This can be business or personal or whatever.
I kind of have both. On the personal side, I lost my father when I was younger. And I really wish that I had spent more time checking off his bucket list items and spending more time with him out enjoying the scenery and things that he didn't get to do. And that's one thing that I've kind of really made it a point, part of starting the coffee company and really getting into overlanding is I have a 6-year-old, and it's my full intention to make sure that he doesn't miss out on some of the things that I got kind of missed out with my dad. And then on the business side, everything that you think you know how much it costs, double it. And if you think it's going to take 6 months, double that too. And if you try to do it in a pandemic, just times 5, everything. So it's been a fun ride. I'll say that. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay. You gave some good advice. I hope everybody listens to that and uses that advice. That's beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
So I want to get back to your rig.
Yes,
and this is a question I'm going to be asking pretty much anybody on every interview that I do. And it's, in the last 12 months, what's the best investment in gear, excluding your rig, that you've had, and why?
Best investment in gear has been, we got a Jackery. And the best thing, that it was actually a Christmas gift. And it's kind of one of those things like, well, why do I need that? But once you have one, you know why you need one. I use it every single trip. And if it's not charging phones, charging batteries, just keeping lights on, it's been a lifesaver more than once out on the trail. And it's an amazing piece of equipment that you don't know you need until you have one and find all the uses for it. So that's probably my go-to best thing that I've bought.
The Jackery seems to be very popular. I have a similar but a different brand, and I agree with you. It changes your camping almost into having a home environment, in my opinion.
Definitely, yes.
I like to hook mine up to a blender even.
I was going to say, when you have a little one and you can put a fan on in the tent, it makes all the difference whether you get sleep or not.
Yes.
So
I've got the opposite of that question I just asked you, and that is, regardless of being a good investment or not, what's your favorite mod to your rig?
Favorite mod to my rig is the up top rack that we had made for a couple of reasons. One, it allows us to carry the rooftop tent and all the other gear on it, which functionally it's amazing. But the other thing too is working with the guys at up top and actually designing and helping build we didn't actually design the rack, but being there while they were designing it and then making really good friends out of the process. And now being able to go out with those guys and just enjoy overlanding and making new friends. So it was a really good investment for us. And one of the best things we've ever done for that rig.
And with that said, I want to recommend everybody listening, everybody watching, to go over to Trail Rated Coffee's website. I'll leave a link in the description. And when they see this, there'll be a little something down here below with your website on it. At least go there to see the Jeep. Right there on the front page, there's video footage, excellent quality professional video footage of your Jeep. So at least go over to his website to check out the Jeep. I highly recommend it. So with that, I'd like to ask you, what's your favorite kind of trail? I do all types of trails, but I have a particular favorite. What's your favorite?
I used to say the hardest, most probably dangerous off-road trail you could get on the side of a cliff, leaning over, hoping you're going to roll over and enjoying every minute. But in the last few years, that's really switched, and it's more overlanding, open road trail. And I've really gotten into looking at historical buildings and following historical trails and things like that. So that's really where our focus is shifted. Part of that's having the family going with me, but every once in a while, I still enjoy a good tough trail. But most of the time, it's going to be an overlanding trip.
Well, where you live, you have both choices at your fingertips. So
definitely,
Colorado's a wonderful place. We are
blessed.
Yes, we
are blessed to have that. I mean, within an hour of our house, you can be on some of the toughest trails in the world or some of the most scenic drives in the world, and in the same day.
I love Colorado.
It's amazing.
I highly recommend Colorado to people, especially overlanders, people who want to cover large distances off pavement, a state where it seems like the municipalities are for off-wheeling and people getting out, So I highly recommend Colorado.
Definitely.
Okay, my next question for you is, what's currently at the top of your bucket list for a trail or adventure? Is it going to be one of those type of things?
You mentioned Colorado, and part of it is through Colorado. I've kind of been wanting to run the Continental Divide for several years now. I want to run from Mexico to Canada. And basically overland camping the entire way. We had a plan for it before the pandemic. We were actually going to run the Continental Divide and then run up into Canada and go across to the West Coast and come out at an event over there. But with the pandemic, we got shut down. So we want to get about 10 or 15 of us and kind of traverse definitely. You're more than welcome to come with us. We want to head from Mexico to the Canadian border, and don't know exactly how long it'll be, but just enjoy the scenery and just camaraderie and having a group of people go. And I'd love to just see the whole thing. I've seen most of it in parts, but never the entire trip.
Yeah, that'll be an accomplishment that you'll probably remember for the rest of your life. And hopefully I'm going to be part of that.
Yeah, definitely. You're more than welcome. Anybody that's willing to come out to Colorado, we're more than accommodating. We'll be glad to take you out and show you any of the trails and have a good time.
So I'm going to jump back to food now, Kris. Now you told me what your go-to meal is. Now I have a different sort of question. I've noticed in my travels and hanging out with different people that people usually have a routine as far as what their first meal is when they get to camp. They might be on a 30-day or 6 months or whatever, but they I don't know if it's superstition or what, but it seems like most people have a first meal on their journey. What's your first meal on your journey? Or do you have one?
Well, it's not always. My first meal, my go-to meal is breakfast tacos. I love making breakfast tacos, homemade tortillas, bacon.
You make homemade tortillas?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure do.
Okay.
One thing my mom taught me is how to make a good tortilla. Okay. And I still practice that and on the trail. They're amazing, especially if you have some of that leftover T-bone steak from the night before put in there. That's a great thing to do. And then get you a nice fresh cup of coffee, watch the sunrise. That just sets the day. It's the best thing ever.
So I told everybody what initially made me contact you, but I didn't go into full detail. And that was, you had recently started speaking about taking care of trails. And then after I spoke to you, you solidified a partnership with Tread Lightly, which made me even more eager to talk to you. I don't really care about the products. I'm just being honest. I'm looking for overlanders. I'm looking for good people at this point in my life.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I agree. Yes, sir. 100%. Yes.
So tell us about that.
One of the reasons why we started our coffee company is we've been overlanders before overlanding was even a thing. In the past, I used to work for an engineering firm, and one of the managers I had was from Australia. So he actually brought over a rig and took us out in California in that. So it was something that we really enjoyed, and that camaraderie. And what we wanted to do is be able to take that and take it to as many people as possible. So part of that was starting the coffee company. The other thing that we've really kind of committed to is we see the destruction and all the problems that have happened with the trails. And we all know that all our trails are getting shut down or getting trashed and closed. And a lot of it we found is just a lack of education or just lack of funding at a state or a federal level. So what we've done is partnered with either local off-road groups. We're a member of a few off-road clubs here in Colorado. We've also partnered with Tread Lightly and a few other, we like to work with the nonprofits when we can. And what we've pledged is we're actually giving a portion of all of our proceeds directly to these organizations. And our only stipulation is they go direct to trail repair, cleanup, and preservation. The other thing that kind of separates us from the rest is we'll throw shovels in the truck and put boots on the ground. We'll show up and we'll actually help build those trails. So we're looking for events. We're looking for any kind of trail cleanup or things that people need help with. And if we can provide some kind of resources or labor, we are involved and we'll be there. We've committed as a company. Our goal is to help restore and replace 1 million miles of trail. It's a kind of a lofty goal, but I think it's one that'll probably take me, hopefully not the rest of my life, but a long time. And I think it's just, we've spent a lifetime enjoying those trails. It's time to give back. And I think that the best way to do it is a grassroots type of program where we actually go out and help, and we'll bring coffee, we'll bring smiles, and we'll bring labor and shovels.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. I love that. So if a person is curious about Tread Lightly, if they're curious about treading lightly, what's the benefit to the person? Why would a person want to partner with Tread Lightly? Why would a person want to practice treading lightly?
One of the things, partnering with the organization gives you access to a lot of educational materials that a lot of people, we have a huge problem in that we have people, Moab, Colorado is the same way. We have a lot of people that fly in from other places. They may not know the trails. They may not know where they're going. They rent a vehicle and they don't know about treading lightly, or they don't know about how to stay on the trail and what real damage it causes. So organizations like Tread Lightly, they put different programs on, they teach stewardship, they work with organizations to find ways to educate people, and they also do boots on the ground cleanup projects and stuff and help keep trails open. As far as why we should tread lightly, if we don't, honestly, we're not going to have a place to go. And the sad part about that is it's not just trails closing, But if you think of all the veteran organizations or kids organizations or other things that depend on those trails,
yes,
I like to say the trails are the arteries to our fun.
Absolutely.
And if we don't take care of those, just like your body and everything else, we're not going to have them to use. And, you know, if we keep going the way we're going, they're going to close everything. And everybody needs to do our part. And Tread Lightly is a very great organization, but more than that, it's really a statement that people need to take to heart and do. I mean, the days of just blazing across the desert and who cares what you tear up are gone. We have to protect what we have. I mean, there's millions and millions of miles of trails that have already closed, and they're on the docket to close more. We just heard that they put sound ordinances into Moab today that's going to greatly impact how Moab trails are run. So it's happening all around us. We definitely have to make an effort to tread lightly, be involved, and give back to not just taking the stuff from the trails, but actually giving back and working on those trails and giving us something to leave the next generation. I always think about it. Our next generation of off-roaders, overlanders, they're coming up, and we want to leave them something. So that's kind of the biggest takeaway from Tread Lightly.
Thank you for saying that, Kris. I don't know if you've watched my podcast or watched it all the way through, but I have kind of like a go-to phrase that I end with every week. And I say, everyone stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully I'll see you here or on a trail soon. So I'm speaking more to my audience now. That's why I say tread. That's why that's part of my closing phrase, because I want to emphasize to everyone, we are in a situation. If we don't start taking care of these trails, we're not going to be able to brag about how we have the whole West to roam. That it's going to no longer be. I also want to emphasize to people, the National Park Service, the BLM, all of these public lands, they don't have the employees anymore. And they are looking for excuses to shut things down. And we can't give them those excuses. So hopefully that now when people hear me say tread lightly, they really get a sense of what I'm saying. And I wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying, because you said some important things, and I'm glad you said them.
I agree 100%. For years, I worked in the environmental engineering industry, and that is what you're saying is very true. They would just soon shut down the parks than spend the money to clean up after everybody. It's cheaper, it's easier for them to shut them down, and a lot of times, even with the organizations that we've worked with in our local Jeep clubs, we have to go ask them to give us permission to just keep these trails open. And a lot of times, the national parks put their money into restoring the parks and keeping them safe. They're not going to put money in these back trails that we use. They're just going to close the land. So you're absolutely right. It's imperative that we take a stand as overlanders and land stewards. We really are. We're in charge of that land and taking care of it and being responsible for it. It's a major thing that we have to do.
Amen. Kris, I want to make sure, is there anything that you wanted to mention or let the people know before you get out of here? I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
No, I want to say thank you for having us. One thing we would like to mention is we've just launched a subscription program. So now you can get coffee delivered to your door. You can get as many bags as you feel like you need for the month. And I want to remind everybody that every single purchase that you make is you helping us. It goes directly to trails. And we don't really go into these organizations that just pay a lawyer to go to Washington. Yeah. We put the boots on the ground. We buy 2x4s. We do restoration projects. We put boots on the ground. And anybody that's wanting to join or help with that, give us a call or email us. And I definitely would say everybody's purchase goes towards some sort of restoration for our sport and our enjoyment.
I love it. So how does someone find you on social media, and how do they find out more about your products?
Okay. Definitely our website, which is trailratedcoffee.com. And then we're on Instagram, and my wife has informed me that we've now joined TikTok, which I've never seen. So I'm going to say I can't say what's on there. She's taking care of that, but it's Trail Rated Coffee on Instagram and TikTok. And then we're Trail Rated Coffee Co. on Facebook. And
I'll make sure to put some links down here when this is put out on Friday.
Yeah, everything's on our website. That's the best. I will say my wife it runs the website, and I'm very thankful for her because she does a great job. So everything is on there, even if I fumble it up.
Kris, I appreciate you setting aside this time and allowing my audience to talk to you. Thank you for sending me the coffee. It's going to go to good use. Thank you for helping and being a good person and looking out for the environment. But most of all, thank you for showing up on the show.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. And beyond anything, selling the coffee is great, but getting the word out and remember, it's all about friends and enjoying and giving back. That's the biggest thing. And we really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. We really do.
Thanks, Kris. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, we're back. So I hope you enjoyed that interview. I really enjoyed it. Before I get into the taste test of the coffee, I want to tell you that we kept talking after the interview ended, and we talked about some very interesting things. So I'm going to also be distributing that interview in full later on this week. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check back. Stay tuned. All right, so we already talked about the coffees if you watched the interview. These are the coffees, Rubicon, Imogene, and Cliffhanger. So I just wanted you to see the bags. I wanted it to start off looking pretty. We're gonna move these out of the way. And we're gonna drink some coffee. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna start with is the Rubicon, which is a dark roast coffee. It's dark roast. Has a chocolatey flavor. I don't want to overemphasize chocolate. It's not like a sweet chocolate. It's like a dark, bitter chocolate type flavor. Next time I drink this, I'll probably add more sugar and more cream so it'll really have a chocolatey flavor to it. But this is a dark roast. So somebody that's looking for a kick, this is the one to go to. The next one is Imogene. Now this is a medium roast, a medium blend roast. And excuse me a second. Anyway, the Imogene is a medium roast. And let's go. I already know what my favorite coffee is, but I'm not going to tell you till we get to the end. The Imogene, it's a medium roast. This would be my morning coffee out of the three. I mean, out of the two, because this is a medium roast too. The dark roast, if I wanted to kick, I would go with the Rubicon. The Imogene is my morning coffee. The Cliffhanger, this is something that, like, if I'm in my office around the computer and I'm going to be working for hours and I'm going to be constantly drinking cup after cup of coffee, the Cliffhanger. Now I'll get right to it. My favorite coffee is the Cliffhanger. Normally I go for more the chocolate-y or darker type flavors. This has like a vanilla type flavor to it. It's a real subtle vanilla. Reminds me of French toast a little bit. So I like this one to just sip on all day. This one is like a 2-cupper. I'm gonna have 2 cups of coffee in the morning. And if I have to get up and I need to be perked up and ready to go, the Rubicon. But these are all very consistent coffees. I should have talked to him more about the process of making the coffee, because they're out of the ones that I've tried so far, these are some of my top picks, all 3 of these coffees. Yeah, I have to be in the mood for a dark flavor. I like this, but this is the one that I want to continue with. Yep, I'm gonna say the Cliffhanger. Well, guys, that wraps up another episode of the podcast. We leave you this week with footage from the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We'll see you next week. I hope you like, share, and subscribe. And with that, everyone stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully I'll see you here or on the trail soon.
Sponsored by Midland, communication for every adventure. The industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years. You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.
Welcome to Albuquerque.
Don't ask me why I never call. No, I'm not here to answer you at all. Don't let it fall. It's got nothing to do with you at all. Don't ask me why I never call. No. me looking out for you. You're looking out for me. You got your way of being, no matter how foolish it may be. You'll never understand